Well, hey, there you are. Sonia here. Welcome to Sonia's Sermonettes. Are you still here? You still out there trying to have faith, believing in God when everything is compiled against the faith believers and those that trust in God? You mean you're still going at it? You're still functioning? We thought we'd thrown everything we could at you. We've thrown all kinds of obstacles in your way and thought, of course, you would stop running this race. But your reply, I'm still here and I'm going to be here until my time is to go. I'm not giving up. Things may come at me, winds may blow, storms may rise up, floods, whatever, but my faith is not in my own capability. My faith is in God's ability and what He's promised to me. God has made promises to us, be it written word or spoken word or however. You know what a promise is? It's something that has been given that actually takes form and becomes real. How do we activate the promises? By believing in them. I'm still here. I have not quit. And sorry for the people that thought I would because they were wrong. I'm still functioning. I'm still working. I'm still having faith. I'm still sowing seeds, still believing in humanity, still out there converting and helping and encouraging and rolling up my sleeves and going to work believing that God said get out there and let the people know the good news. I don't want to hear any more bad news, and we're tired of hearing it. Bad news has to be gone. We want the good news and the report of God. You know, I've been listening sometimes all sorts of things that is not right. That's not their call. And what I'm thinking is, how can they lay down at night knowing all the critical criticisms that they've been spewing out here about everybody in all walks of life, actually? How in the world do they live with themselves? What are they feeding on? They're feeding on the negative. But here's those out there right now that says, Sonia, I'm still here. I'm going to be here. I'm going to stand and see the salvation of the Lord. For you do not move me. Paul, the Apostle Paul said, none of these things move me. Now listen, he wasn't talking about a little bit of head trip here. He wasn't talking about a little bit of worry in his mind. He was talking about being beaten to the degree that could not even breathe. He was talking about being thrown in prison. And guess what he was doing while he was there? He was writing to you and I. He functioned in dysfunctional situations. You know, that's what you and I are doing right now. It appears to be dysfunctional most everywhere we turn. But we have made up our mind. I've got a made up mind, and I refuse to quit. And yes, I'm still here. I'm still believing. I'm praising. I'm singing. I'm ministering. I'm encouraging. And I'm believing God for the best for you. You and I are believing for the best that is still standing out here. And that's what happened with those that passed around the wall. The enemy looked outside the wall and said, is that bunch of crazy people still out there going around and around this wall? What in the world do they think they're going to do? But they had received a promise, and they activated that promise, and by activating, they went out and done what they were told to do, and they marched around that wall. They decided that the promises were going to take form and were going to become real, and that's exactly what happened. But the people behind the wall, that was the enemies, said, well, they sure are a bunch of crazy people out here believing in God, and the situation is impossible. But you know what? With God, nothing is impossible. All things are possible. And did they have anything to chisel away at the walls? Did they have any means of bulldozers or whatever, shovels? They did not take any physical instruments other than some musical horns and praising God while they were doing it. They focused on the promise. They let the promise take form in themselves and become real, and it literally moved the walls. And the seventh time they went around that wall, they blowed their horns, they shouted, and they praised God. That's what we're doing today. We are blowing our horn today. We're shouting and praising God in spite of everything that wants to come against us. But God says, let there be light, and there is light. Let it be looking impossible, and I'll make it possible. If you hold on to my promises, I'm going to tear the walls down. I'm going to shut the mouths of the lion. I'm going to singe the enemies, and I'm going to quench the fire on my little children. Aren't you glad that God's given us the determination and a backbone to carry on? So that's what God's got to say to you and I today. Carry on, soldier. I'll be with you. I'll go before you. I'll fight your battles. I'll give you the strength to fight. And so, until next time.